Alright, let's go. The only thing I can think, it's been fucking cold lately. You know there's a lot going on when all we can talk about is how effing cold it is. I had to do an emergency strong guy thing for a very short period of time yesterday. And I don't think anything bad happened, but it did make my arm ache for the next day. I had to do the emergency thing on like Friday. And then Saturday I was like, okay, you probably shouldn't push yourself like that. I don't think anything's wrong. I don't think I popped anything. I don't think I did anything. But it was like, wow, you haven't really like done that muscle in a long time, brother. And I think I talked about last time that I get like a click. I get a little click in the shoulder. The little teeniest click. I think it's actually getting to be less of a click every day and not a click with a Q. Uh-oh, we got a Zathras attack. Let's get through some more of these so maybe she'll invade and make my video interesting again. But it, like twice now I've gone out for my workout and been like, it looks like a normal San Francisco day, the way I think of normal, which is when I think of when I was like 7 to 10 years old. No, not quite. When I was 7 to 10, it rained a lot. When I was 7, it rained a lot. But by the time I was 10, we were pretty solidly in the drought. And, whew. But when I was like 7, when I was 10, it was overcast a lot. And it was always like this mildly cold, low 50s weather. And then lately, I think the other day, I think yesterday, it was actually like 30 something in the morning. So just way too cold, man. 8, 9, 10. But yes, arm doing good. You can see that gross little guy there. That's just a scab that I don't want to pick because it's got too much skin on one side. It'll dry up soon. It'll blow away. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard that. That's Kitty going, attention, meow. Zathras. Oh, boy. So, yeah, cold. Freaking cold. Even for us. Not for Alaska. Not for Carolinas or anything like that, I don't think. Not for the East Coast. I don't think I'm doing this stretch right anymore. I'm getting so lazy about it. That's why you need the physical therapist to look at your positioning. God, I hope they never like watch these videos and go, you've been doing it wrong. Do 100 of them in a row to make up for it. That'd be great. Yeah, cold. Yeah, blah, blah. Ran into an interesting phenomenon I want to like talk about on the YouTube. In general, I stay out of politics. And people say they stay out of politics, but they read the news. And I feel like the news is like a third politics, half advertising, something like that, then the remaining percent undefined to get myself out of my own little math predicament. But it's not like half advertising and half politics. There's times when they're talking about the pandemic and shit. And if you browse it a certain way, you can eliminate a lot of the advertising. Although not exactly. While there's no like banner ads when you swipe left on your iPad, there's still news articles that say like, this is the #1 gift of the season. It's just a fucking ad. I get it. They're like, they saw like a trend and they're like, let's tell people about this. There was a whole South Park episode about this where I want to say it ended up that like Butter's girlfriend, or maybe it was a new character's girlfriend. There was basically one of the boys on the show. I think it was a new character though. Could tell if something was an ad or not, like instantly, and then ads themselves became or had been sentient and sent him a girlfriend that like a little human girl that really was an ad inside, but she didn't know it, but she could also tell if ads were ads, and it was like, oh no, is he an ad and all this stuff. But anyway, If you start looking at stuff and you just decide, if it's pushing something on you, it's an ad, then you start seeing ads everywhere. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be stuff about for a while there, it felt like there was no ads, just pandemic or Trump. And then now it's a little weird to me to see, day after day, Biden this, but first 2 days, Biden tries all this stuff. Then the next couple of days have been Biden facing challenges. Well, yeah, he's president. You're just like, now that you care about the president trying to do something as opposed to whatever you perceived Trump to be doing, you're like, oh, look at all the challenges he has. I guess it depends on if you're one of those people who think the left controls media versus the right and all that kind of shit. A lot of the people I knew a lot about libertarianism through Giant Bomb. One of the guys, like one of the founders, was very outspoken. Well, he wasn't outspoken, but if you asked him, he would explain. It reminds me a lot of a friend of mine who was recently also like, oh, I'm very libertarian. But he also was framing it in that he gets along in San Francisco because people perceive his libertarian things as being left things. And he's like, well, not necessarily. The two button press thing screws me up every time. So anyway, to get to the story I found interesting via the YouTube algorithm was, when I hear something, I guess ever since the election, I got kind of sucked into like looking at the news a little more closely. I've been looking at it. You look at the news anyway for the pandemic, and so you end up hearing about politics and stuff. And so, as I start hearing about, I think naturally, since if the left controls the media, the things you initially hear about on YouTube would be those point of views. And then I had a friend recommend some counterpoint videos. And generally, I like things. You gotta come at me with the right angle. If you come at me angry, even if it's like video game journalism or something, done. I ignore your point. You just lose. It's the wrong approach with me. That's my jib. I need the jib. You need to be like kind of funny. I was recommended a funnier video about a guy who was like, "Don't fact check me, bro," and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," because surely he doesn't mean don't check facts. And he was like, I think he was trying to get at a point of like, it's okay to discuss things, but it was all couched in this giant like, don't fact check me thing that made me be like, what the fuck? So then I started running around looking at like fact checking to see if I could find the meme. What was he getting at? What is this oppression he's experiencing as a chestnut? What like compound it down to a little ball of concentrated truth. Had there been a concerted effort to be like, shut up cause facts, kinda, in a little bit, in that sense, is like the discussions were starting to boil down to like, well, not boil down, but I was starting to see that, and you're seeing it now. Bill Maher said it. It was linked to a video where Bill Maher was expressing something like this in a video where he said what was it, the Bill Maher thing exactly? But you get, the Bill Maher thing, yes, it applies, because talking about the poor lady that died, the Air Force lady that died at the Capitol riots, and that her dying was a tragedy, not because she was like such an amazing, intelligent patriot fighting for the truth of everything, but that even that she had been manipulated, or that information was disseminated in such a way that it just worked on her, and she went there and gave her life. Her idea was like she was fighting the fucking Revolutionary War, and then they lost. I mean, what the fuck, right? Like, what if our Revolutionary War we fought and we lost. Jesus Christ. I mean, it would all just get painted, victors, the winners write history. He's just like, she followed a bunch of information that kept being presented to her, and she came to a conclusion that is probably wrong because the facts aren't what they are. And then I see it happening on the other side where I'm trying to think of the exact one I was looking at. It might have been like, it was some COVID fact where it was like, oh yes, COVID suicides up at some point in time last year, April or something. And the fact-checking sites were like, that's not true. And they just took the microcosm of what the person was asserting. Like, in April, in the United States, COVID was responsible for this amount of deaths, and suicides, the person asserted, was like twice that. And they looked into it, and they were like, no, it isn't true. In fact, early in the pandemic, suicides were down. Later, they've gone up. Sure, we can't get too far in the weeds on this one. It could be anything. Anyway, they could go up and down seasonally. It may, in fact, not be COVID. Most of the time, historically, suicides go up during times of economic crisis. And guess what COVID's causing in the small businesses and everything collapsing. So anyway, they're like, yeah, that didn't happen in April. You're wrong. Fact check, wrong. Well, actually, in the United States in April, no, it didn't happen. In Japan, check that out. That's not the United States. So you could just stop there. In the United States, it happened. No, it was Japan. You're wrong. Okay. But the discussion should be allowed to be had as long as we get to the deeper, interesting roots of like the economics causing suicides. And then applying it correctly, going like, okay, well, we know historically economy causes a lot of suicides, and right now our economy is going in the shitter because of our reaction to COVID, that's another thing they could just say, right? They'd be like, well, isn't COVID causing it? Well, right. It isn't even COVID causing it. Like, COVID can't infect money and then kill the money as if it were a concept that could die from being infected. So, like, I got to go look up what this cartoon was called. I bet I could find it. But there was an old cartoon, comic strip, not cartoon, comic strip where they would use these like clip art of like raptors and dinosaurs to discuss headier concepts. I guess probably the person just, thought themselves like a poor writer. And so they used like clip art of something popular to something they liked. I don't know why they chose raptors. I don't know if they were a bad artist. I don't know. But they would use this clip art. And this guy was like, the dinosaur's point was, he was like, marriage is like a Game Boy. And the guy was like, okay, but your analogy is that marriage is like a Game Boy where you marry a Game Boy. So your analogy is like shit. And I always thought that was interesting. So I start becoming very conscious after that of analogies to the point where I just nitpick the shit out of them anymore. So I get down on myself about nitpicking things. I get down on myself for being reactionary, emotional to things. For both of them, I try to just give myself time. I'll nitpick it mentally, and I'll react because I can't not react. But if I react and then wait a day, which I'll just naturally think about something even in the back of my brain or whatever, at the very least, the reaction is tempered, has been given time. This might still like color a perception that I work on, but yeah, it's at least something. It's better than going, I don't like that, and then punching it, which is probably a lot more like I was when I was like 25 or something. Yeah. I don't know if it goes hand in hand with having a bad temper. I think I still have a poor temper, but I don't have as bad a temper as I did. And the problem would be kind of like Jordan B. Peterson talk about, like, when people break, when they collapse, and he was particularly talking about them going into like mental illness. But if you take the same principle, like you just get hit from multiple directions, and life can just fuck you up. Your wife might die, and then you have cancer, and then you find out that you didn't do some tax thing right, and they take all your money in a lien, and you're just like, you just kill yourself or whatever. That would be the most like extreme, one of the more extreme, if not the. You can call that a mental illness or whatever. It's like, because the person went through bang, 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 and it's just, yeah, of course they did. They weren't strong enough to handle being hammered constantly in all directions. So, anyway, when you read something, maybe just take a second. And by a second, I mean might be a day. You know what I mean? Oh well, that got way off the rails towards the end there. Arm's looking good. Very pink in today's video, but I notice anymore that a lot of the pains in the arm are actually focused in a lump. Not a lump, but it's like the muscle is like huge. It's funny. I think that muscle's been doing overtime lately. A lot of things are actually pain from the scar, I believe, not things wrong with the muscle particularly. So going to go in for next week, starts 2-day-a-week PTs, and going to, talk to the therapist a little bit, tell her about the little emergency I had, make sure that we do whatever we can. I don't think we can't like MRI it or whatever. It's not that kind of place, but whoa, kitties are calling. All right, I'm going to go. Let you guys go. This is going too long anyway. I want to get them closer to 10 than 15. It's already 17. Goodbye.